What's really wrong with President William Samoei Ruto? You cannot be exporting lies from your country to a neighboring country. Just the other day, President Ruto was in Tanzania and boldly saying that there will be a launch of oil refinery in Tanga region in Tanzania until it had to take the intervention of Raisa Samia Suluhu to tell him off that she is not aware of any refinery being launched in Tanga. What's wrong? Maybe this thing called pathological lying is associated with biology and it could be a disorder. Listen to Rigathi Gachagua talk about this.
But the embarrassment of the Kenyan nation yesterday in Tanzania is very painful. William Ruto has launched fake projects here in Kenya. He keeps announcing projects that do not exist. The man has become so bold that he is now announcing non-existent projects in a neighboring country. You know, it's so embarrassing to our country that a president from Kenya goes to Tanzania to announce that there will be a project in Tanga for oil refinery when the president of the country is not even aware of such a project. You know, it's a kind of insolence, impunity. You know, he has lied to Kenyans so much that he has no qualms about going to lie to the people of Tanzania. How do you go to a neighboring country to announce a project that is non-existent? That country is complaining. At least Mama Suluhu, she is a very bad dictator who has blood on her hands. And we are happy that the International Criminal Court is slowly cornering her. But at least, despite being a brutal dictator, she had the decency to say, no, this is too much of a lie. You know? She's a terrible dictator, but at least she has some kind of conscience that it is wrong for a country, for a president from a different country to come and announce a non-existent project. So that's the kind of indignity that we continue to suffer as a country. But the beautiful part of it is that it's only for a time.
Remember, there are so many projects that President William Samoei Ruto have perpetuated or insinuated to launch here in the country. These projects, when you look at the budget allocation, none of them is in the papers of the budget allocation. None of them has the commencement or the end date of these projects. They are mere propaganda used as political tools to woo the citizenry and the voters at least to like him and try to vote him come 2027. As I said, pathological lying could be an issue here. And some time back, I did say that our president needs to be checked into health-wise, because it can't be that you're so fond of lying such that it becomes your second nature. You know, well, some people will say these are just promises that are not fulfilled. Well, you can promise something, you don't fulfill it, but in the interest of time, you gotta do it. But when it comes to lying, lying is about saying something that which you also know there is no intention or goodwill of executing it. For instance, when you say there will be a railway line running from Nairobi, Nakuru through to Kisumu, yet you very well know that the budget process has been concluded and no money has been allocated for that project, that we don't call a promise. That is a blatant lie. So, most of the time, when we call out these, we just want better for our country. And I always tell these old guard politicians that times have changed, generations have changed. This is a generation that is privy to the information. This is a generation that, as much as you say they are lazy towards reading or learning, most of the things they watch live, they get civic education online. The digital content right now, the only mess might be there is to differentiate between lies and facts. That is the only problem because they consume everything. But even in the interest of consuming everything, it has created a nature of disbelief, a nature of not just taking everything without sieving it. So, if you want us to rely simply or cluelessly on what the president and those who are pro-government are saying, then you are misdirected because there's a lot of information outside here. So by the president coming to say that a certain project is being launched, yet it is not. I mean, there's so much happening in this nation with the ministries not working, systems not working, talk of education, talk of the health systems, talk of agriculture, nothing is working. Just the other day, we saw teachers planning to go for strike because they were just being allocated 1,200 that they could be using per day. Yet, those who have retired, they have no chances of, giving birth, being allocated up to tunes of 400s of thousands. Yet, they are not going to use it in terms of maternity. Well, come to education sector. The president says every student who is able to transit to grade 10 should not stay at home with or without uniform, with school fees or not. They should go to the school. Yet, there is no capitation being allocated for such schools. Ask yourselves, how will a teacher who is hungry, a teacher who is sick, a teacher who is not well taken care of, be able to dispense knowledge in the best way possible? This is killing the vision. This is killing the objectives and the visions of a nation. Well, Jimmy Wanjigi of Safina Party says nobody knows William Samuel Ruto better than he does. Let us listen to him.
Mimi ndio nawinda Ruto, and I know him better than any of you. Saa hii, let me tell you, ameisha. Kama munataka kumfuata, mutaisha na yeye. That man is finished. He's finished. Hata anajua. Referendum yake iliisha zamani sana. The man is done. So kama munataka kaa na yeye, mutaisha na yeye. Lakini if you want future, muokolewe kabisa, muingie fina. God bless you. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
He concludes by saying that President Ruto knows so well that he stands no chance of being re-elected. He's going home. So if you want to support him and go home with him, well and good. But he also clearly knows that the Kenyan terrain is becoming slippery to accord him support. What do you think on this? When we do say about these issues, maybe you feel as like we are pessimists. We are not pessimists. We just bring in facts that are there. Like Larry Madowo says, he doesn't come to Africa to report Africa positively but accurately. Now, that is our duty. Whenever we come here to do analysis, we come here in the best interest of time to try and be accurate, not to be a positive. We call a spade, and that's what we slide into. Most people bash us, but at the end of the day, you come and agree with what we are saying as we are vindicated. And there are so much dossiers that the former deputy president, the leader of DCP party, Rigathi Gachagua, does in terms of bringing dossiers. So maybe if you have glasses over, naming him a tribalist, a person who has no interest of other Kenyans, that is your problem. We take the information that we need to take, which is going to aid in liberating this nation, and that is what we use. Right? I don't know. What is your take on this? I don't know what's your idea on this. Give me that in the comment section below. Now, if you're watching from our YouTube channel and you're interested in such content, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.